Hey, we're back again, and this is my 67 Chevelle. My name's Randy Wittes, and our next project is replacing the door hinge A-pillar outer skin, which the panel I did get and I started here on the replacing the inside windshield pillar, and we found rust in this piece once I got it all chiseled apart. So we know there's rust down here and inside here. So see that again. So we're going to replace this whole piece, and let me show you what that piece looks like. Now, I got it at NPD, but it's a AMD product. Now, NPD carries a lot of different brands of steel. So far, I've been liking the AMD because if you remember, I was over here and replaced this. This has ended up being an AMD product, and I'm a little much happier with it. A little much, quite a much. Anyhow, so this is what we're going to replace, and it comes with the hinges. My thinking is, because I don't want to deal with the hinges, and I'm going to remove the spot welds, and I'm going to take those out and just replace the skin. I'll know more once I get this outside piece off and see how rusted it is. I think it's more or less just in the seam. The rest of it, we shall see. See you in a bit. Ready, set, go. No. Whoopsie. Gonna hurt. I'm gonna start off just like I did on this, and you can see I've already drilled out a lot of the spot welds, which that's a 1/8 drill bit, but I drilled it, well, you can't see because that's already been replaced. But on this particular side, I'm gonna drill my spot welds, and then I'm gonna come back with my hole cutter and cut it from this way, so it leaves the big hole in this piece, not in the piece I'm going to weld to. So let's get this started. As you can see, it started. I grind these edges just kind of lightly to find out where my spot weld is, a little indentation. And gotta be, yeah, there's one. That's one. See, sometimes you feel it more on the back side than you do the front side. So we got it right there. See the rust? That's one way that you can test a panel. And you can see on the back side of, because it's a double panel, you get more of an indentation back here. But you can test a panel that's lapped like that. We can test it right here. There's a spot weld. That's exactly how much rust is back in there. Well, that's a pretty hard spot weld. I didn't see rust powder out of that, so the back side of that's probably pretty good, but you saw it come out of this one, and we know there's rust in there. See what this one does. See it? And it's going off off to the side. It's not helping me any. And we also have a VIN number to deal with. Now you can buy these little replacement, I'm going to call it just a star head, but GM rivet to put these back on. And when you're restoring a vehicle, that's quote legal. So we shall find out. But I'm going to keep drilling and I'll get right back with you. Okay, so we got a bunch of holes drilled and cut, and rust was flinging out a lot of these. And we got these. My saw didn't feel like it's going all the way through, so it's going to be fun. Now, I found 4 here, and then apparently the plate comes around this side, and there's 1 or 2 that I see. 1, 2, 3-ish, and 4 here. I'm going to attack this. I'm gonna use my little cutoff wheel and cut this out like so, because I'm never gonna get to this to chisel those spot welds out without doing that. And by looking at this one, yeah, well, it bends in front as well, and you see around the side. So it's not attached there, but it doesn't mean it's not attached on the factory. So I'm going to cut this right out through here like that. And that should leave me safe, so then I can get in there and remove everything, hopefully. So let's get to cutting. Helps to plug it in. Now we get the heavy artillery, see what we can mess up with this. It's so loud. Alright, well, going back with the little artillery. Let's see if I can split these seams open. Just see the rust falling out. See it? Isn't it pretty? I'm going to, oh, that one's sawed all the way through. See what this one looks like. Well, it's going to be a slow process, but you get the idea. See you in a bit. Well, here's another way. Dissection. Well, we're getting there. See, when you start using the heavy artillery, then you start busting through stuff you really don't want to. So that's why I started the dissection. Not pretty in there. But that's what I wanted to see. So, keep it cutting. can't lose that one. Okay, so I got a cut that's here. I think I'll use this handy dandy little saw. Okay, so not too bad up there. This was rusted out. Replace that. Made a panel for that. See if we can get a light. See all that up in there. It's pretty. The rust hole right where I welded. So, question is, how's everything else? Oh crap. Where? Well, you see daylight, right? Yeah. Okay. So, how strong are the hinges? Are good. Feel strong. Did they have rust on them? Sure. Every part of this car does. Just try to salvage what we can and replace what we can. That's still pretty strong, but we see, and it's this whole seam issue. That's all gone. But what I was thinking is I'll replace the outside. I'll come back on the inside or whatever, make a panel this far in and replace it. Yeah, it's not pretty down there either. Well, there's rust in the hinge bracket. You can see that rust hole. Now, there is an option of why I don't like sitting on a rolling chair is because anything you hit, you don't roll anywhere. How'd you like that? Some of these parts here are replaceable, and they go down into the rocker, and I have to investigate that rocker some. See where we are, see what I have to rebuild there. Okay, so investigation. See you in a bit. Alrighty, we've done some investigation, done more trimming. But right now I'm cleaning up my pieces, and if I've done my job right and got my spot welds correct and drilled them deep enough, everything should just pop off, more or less. And believe me, this doesn't happen this way too often. So this is kind of cool, because it saves you from beating the heck out of it, bending up the other piece of sheet metal, this one, which is thinner actually. And yeah, I'm using a screwdriver because I don't care. Down here, probably going to have a little issue because I couldn't get straight in on these welds, so they got, whoops, kind of at an angle. So we'll just do this. Hopefully won't tear it up. There you go. The way it's supposed to work. Grind those little thingies off, and we got good stuff to work with. Now, the next thing is, as I've been peeling away the layers, I have found not so wonderful news, which, you know, we knew about this bottom hinge. And as I've been working on this and vibrating and beating on things, it's just gotten worse. And there's I think there's another pinhole. Yeah, see them? 2 more pinholes, so I mean that bracket's just toast. But on top of that, you can see, put the light behind you, you can see rust here, and it's pretty thin. The only saving grace is on the back side, it's galvanized. This is galvanized. The whole thing is galvanized, but you put enough moisture and whatnot on it, it's gonna rust. It's gonna eat it off. So, in saying that, now we move down a little farther. You know, this I can patch in. That I can't. I mean, I can, but basically what it is, and I've checked on the back side of this panel, and the back side of that panel is, get that out of the way, this panel, this brace right here. So that goes down, and we'll say the first layer seems to be pretty solid still. Fingers up behind those holes, and the holes don't go all the way through. Now, the part that's rusted out is, you guessed it, this panel, because it goes down in between. And that goes down in between, which would be the rocker here. So that goes down into there, which that's going to be the fun part. Just thinking off the top of my head, because this is rusted, probably cut this out. Okay. That gives me access to the inside, which gives me access to slip this panel down in and weld that up to the inner brace. And the inner brace only comes up to here. Because this rusted off. That's all part of this. The drawback to that is it doesn't come in just this panel. It comes in this panel and this panel. Well, that panel, there's nothing wrong. Now I could separate them, I guess. But you know, I'm kind of looking at things and thinking, what's going to be the easier way to do this? Because I can also get this outer panel, which I patched once. I mean, this is okay as well. But I don't know. I just I'm having a little. I've located this in a couple of places, but not at AMD. They're out of stock, and I believe they're the ones that supply everybody else. And also, what I've done in preparation for dismantling, and I may have to come with another cross piece from here down to that, just to lock this in place nice and solid, and maybe something across over to there. But anyway, in preparation, I've located these hinges, made measurements over to here, put little marking spots, that corner, put another little mark right there. That's my other corner, reference of measurement. As long as those stay there, I'm good. That will help me relocate this whole piece in, because the top hinge has got to come out too to replace the inner panel. So I might as well just leave the hinges that are on the repair panel over there attached, and just put the whole piece in. So I'd have to put the hinge pillar in first. No, I can't do that. I'll have to think about that, because I'm going to have to be able to weld to the back side of the hinge right here, because it butts up against that inner piece. And I've got to also go through that inner brace down there. There's not an inner brace up here. Yeah, see, that inner panel comes all the way up into here. So had I known, just like everything else, you know, I patched this piece, good with it. This piece would replace this all the way up into here and up underneath. It's all one piece. So anyhow, that's where we are. Peeling back the onion. It's getting good. Now I just have to get the parts. See you in a bit. Next order of business, and take that bracket off. So I got my pilot holes drilled, got my hole saw holes drilled. So get the chisel away now. I don't care what this looks like, 'cause that's going away. Like I said, if you've done your job right, it should just fall off, which I didn't do that right most of the way, so I didn't go all the way through, except for one. It was pretty thick, but that's off. So moving on. See you in a bit. So like I've mentioned before, if I've done my job right, I drilled the holes in the right spot, I did my spot weld cutter in the right spot, I made sure there wasn't any little donuts or whatever we want to call them stuck in there, so you can't push it down and get it cut out deep enough. So this is a perfect example of, you can just hit the edge of the other sheet metal, and it's the part that I'm removing, this inside piece, and it just more or less, don't hit your hand, pops off. This was already loose down here, didn't have to do much to it. That one I didn't do my job correctly. It's not all the way through. Not all the way through. There we go. Up. There's a triple spot weld right there. Yep, just did on that one. This metal's not very thick right here, and there you go. Okay, well, I was going to show you that, but it's gone. Did it again. Yeah, that gets stuck up in there sometimes. When I say I did it again, I went all the way through, but that actually wasn't, it was partially spot welded on it, because this piece is only this wide underneath, and it's partially spot welded there. So why I went through so easily. But anyway, I'm gonna work on that some more. Gotta work on this, probably just gonna, well, I got a couple spot welds I'm gonna hit. Probably gonna start dissecting and cutting it up in pieces. And still debating, I mean, this thing's already 90% of the way out. Gotta cut up through there and up through here, and that thing's out. And I could replace it because I did put a patch in here, so it's had rust. But anyway, that's next. See ya. Okay, well, we're working on this some more. I don't have parts yet, but I'm just kind of going through, picking at it, tearing it down. So removing this panel, remove the spot welds that were up in here, There's one up in here, probably another one, plus I had done some booger welds up in there. Hopefully they're not holding. But it's coming out nice and easy. When you cut your holes the right way and all the way through, things just pop off. But this isn't, so I'm gonna make you watch and watch the torture. I'm trying to pop loose one spot weld. Yeah. Put a glove or two on. That's I was thinking is another spot weld in there. Well, there's just weld in there and a spot weld. There it is. Wish you could see everything. Get you a little closer, maybe. You can see. Under there. Yeah, I need both hands. Okay, there's that. My spot welds did a wonderful job. And there's that rust. So see. You can tell I forgot to prime the back of that panel I put in, and welding looks wonderful. You see the rust right there, which is right there. I knew there was something there because when I did the spot welds, I got a little puff of rust come up out of it. But here's everything else. So it's gonna be fun. Let me get a light and look around. I know there was rust there. There's a little pinhole-y. Dang. Can't see anything. So, what's it looking like? Up under there. Well, I don't think it's too awfully terrible. You know that is. Now see, this is why it's a little tough to replace a panel such as like the inside pillar post. You can see the old post was under the hinge and came around under here and under the big piece I'm getting ready to replace on the inside. Now do you understand the difficulty? And sometimes you gotta compromise. Now had I known I was replacing this whole thing here, I could have waited and put the pillar in, attached it to that, then put the inside kick panel in, attached it to that, and then put the outside hinge pillar on, which would have overlapped that. So once I get all this off, I'll clean this up, put that down, you know, weld that up, do a couple things. And as you can see, that was, well, not, may have got chiseled out of the way. But I'm seeing some rust right now that was not noticeable before. And that's that hinge brace rust. I'm gonna try to hold the light, hold the camera, and that's not working. Oh boy. Okay, hang the light. Still casting a shadow where I don't want it to. There. It's not gonna sit there. It's still a shadow. Alright. That might work. It's whatever. What I was wanting to get to was that. Wow, that thing's not even attached. Look at it. It's attached right there. That's about it. That's about ready to come off right now. Here nor there, it's coming off all right. Now why? I'm starting. Okay. Anyway. So you wonder why the rust is so crappy right here, and it was rusted out on top of this panel. Not rusted out, but it was getting pinholey. So, you know, I guess just the water flowing. I don't know what, because that side's not as bad. I don't get it. I don't. I guess I really don't. But we're gonna fix it. Sorry about the light. And we're gonna continue on. So I'm gonna keep chiseling away at it. I'm probably gonna have to throw a couple of braces in here somewhere so this doesn't move on me. This, I'll show you instead of my shirt. Show that, so this doesn't move around on me when installing that. So see you in a minute. So I've been playing around a little. I need to find the spot welds up in here and trying to clean up a little surface rust, because I think I'm just going to put some Osmo in a spray bottle and just spray that and call it something. Alright, got little things cleaned up. Located spot weld, so I've run my pilot hole. So I'm just gonna start drilling and cutting my spot weld. Now, okay, well, that's a perfect example. You can tell when you go through sometimes, because you'll feel it just kind of bump through, and then that stays in your drill bit or your cutter, and you don't want that in your cutter because that's going to keep you from going any farther. So I'm going to remove that and see you in a minute. Okay, I'm going to attempt to do this with the camera 2 feet away. Alright, well, got most of it. One hanging right there. So like to try to put that's stained back where it was, just to make things a little easier. So I've got this one loosened up. Had to cut out my own spot welds. Love it. And I'm debating how I'm going to do this. Probably just a hack it up job, because I can't really get inside. Hack it, cut it out, just cut it here and here, and then grind out the mess afterwards, because I've got to go on the inside along here as well, so I've got to cut this hinge away. More stuff to come. Giving me a hard time there. Voila. I'm gonna have to rebuild this whole thing, because you can see it's falling apart. Like so. The vibrations are just making it just dissolve. That's fine. Whatever. Okay, so I want to mark right there is where that needs to meet when I put everything else in here. So I'm going to start cutting. Oh, I can't do that. I've got the inner, good thing I didn't do that, and that inner brace in there. Then I need to save. I'll try to, or maybe not, and just scrap it and move on. The brace goes up to there. Swear sometimes. Oh, nothing collapsed so far. See you in a minute. Sometimes you have to compromise, and for example, this piece went all the way over to here. So to cut it off here, I had to cut all the way into this piece and compromise it just so I could cut this piece loose. And I had to do it the same thing over here. But I'm gonna have to come in here, cut in here so I don't cut this off. I'm gonna keep it. Might just cut the hinge out of the way and then go on this side. Okay, so got that out of the way. This is the brace on that side. So I have to separate the inner piece from the brace, which shouldn't be too hard. I need to cut this out. I'm gonna look at that and figure out how I'm gonna do it. Wow. More surprises. Yeah, I knew it was somewhere. I can see it. Right in there. Come on, get off my hand. Completely gone. And see that right there is the back brace. We'll just keep peeling back the onion. But you see, Down in here, a lot of debris down in there. That is galvanized, but it's still solid. So where's that piece? See, the back of it's galvanized. But you lay stuff in there that holds moisture for a long period of time, it's going to eat through galvanized. So we need that for a pattern so we can make a new one. All right, I'm going to keep peeling. Sometimes just mass destruction works the best. But we'll keep going. Tearing like a sardine can. Okay. That's pretty. Don't see any holes in it. Lots in that. Finish cleaning that up and we'll see what it looks like. Hey, I'm back, everybody. Well, you watched me tear all this apart, make a big mess, and video's gotten pretty long. So what I've decided is I'm going to end this one here. This is the hinge pillar teardown. I'm going to make video number 2. That's going to be the hinge pillar rebuild or something. So that's going to be video number 90, I believe it is. So it's going to be the next one. So stay tuned and we'll get this thing fixed. See you in the next video.